Started. Awesome. Happy Sunday, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. This is a Future Career Connect. We do this every 2 weeks, and this call have been running almost since COVID. We've been doing it just to, again, to help everybody with their job search journey, giving back to the community. I myself was struggling in my early career, to land jobs, and I've definitely, got help from many folks who, coached me, mentored me, and supported me to know my blind spots, because the journey is a little bit tough, sometimes long, and especially if you don't know what you don't know, sometimes it becomes much harder. So my name is Ahmed Zayed. I'm an IT professional. I worked for Microsoft, PwC, Indeed, and Cisco before, and now I'm doing my own business as a career coaching consulting. My company is futurecareer.net, and we're not selling anything here in this call. We're just, again, helping you answer questions. So don't worry. There's no sales, no pitch, nothing here. It's all about you asking questions and supporting you with your journey. So I'll pass it on to my colleagues Mahmoud and Samar to introduce themselves, and then we'll start with your questions, whatever you have in mind.
So hi everyone, my name is Coach Mo, and I've been in the IT industry for 25 years plus. Now I'm also 15 years trained in emotional intelligence and human development, and I combine both of these into coaching people to make their journey to a new job very easy and a pleasant one, and have fun along the way as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Mahmoud. Samar?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Ahmed. Thank you, Mr. Mahmoud. I'm a human resources and employment expert with 18 years of experience in the related field of recruitment and staffing. I have been working in different countries in the Gulf and also in Canada. My last three employers in Canada are Children Aid Society, Amnesty International, and the City of Ottawa. I'm here to answer your questions and help with the aspects of HR, and I hope I can fulfill your satisfaction. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so again, this call is mostly for you guys to ask questions and let us know what's, your biggest challenge, how we can help you, how we can support you. So, don't feel shy to ask questions. Please raise your hand. If there's so many people asking, just raise the hand so that we can get into the sequence. And again, when you please ask the question, please state your name, role, location, and your question or your biggest challenge, so that we can understand the context of where you're, asking, and try to be brief as much as possible, so that we can give a chance to everybody to get their questions answered as well. So if you would like to start, go ahead. Normally, if nobody's asking questions, I normally ask you questions. I have a few questions in mind to prepare and make this more engaging, but I'll just give you a few minutes here to see if you guys already have some questions that you want to ask before I jump into some of the questions that I've prepared for today. And again, I know the first one is the most courageous, so don't feel shy, just go ahead. This is a safe environment and safe place, so all questions are good. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, thank you, Ahmed and Mo and Samir and everybody else. I guess my question would be for you guys, and I'll ask each of you three if you guys could share with me maybe one or two of your best practices or best tips you would give to anybody that is, transitioning careers like I am. I'm transitioning careers. I've been in the military. I'm transitioning into the civilian world. What would be like your maybe top one or two pieces of advice would you give to somebody? Because obviously I'm not the first one you've seen, and I'm not going to be the last. So, what would be your advice?
100%. Okay, so let me take this one first, if you don't mind, Mo and Samir, and then I'll pass it on to you guys to add your context. So I guess Mike, the first thing that I would do for folks who is just transitioning like you, the first thing is financial. How much money do you need from the job? Because again, this is a very important factor for everybody's life today. If you're not financially paid well, if you're not really getting your liabilities paid for on time, you'll always be going to be under stress, and life will not be easy. So this is the first question that you need to ask yourself, and make sure you know exactly what are you looking for? Are you trying to buy a house? Are you trying to move to a different state? Are you, what exactly your financial goals for this journey? Because that will define a lot of things for you in the next steps. So that's the first thing. Once you have that number in mind, you need to then go the next step, which is finding roles that pay that much money that you can at least do 70% of the requirements. There is definitely a lot of must-have requirements, maybe degrees or certifications or some of those things. And then, that's where you need to land one role. Again, for your case, you have a lot of leadership roles and you have a lot of skills that you developed through the years. Those are all very good. The idea for you now is to see what excites you, what really inspires you to wake up from bed and go to your work happy and feeling inspired. That could need from you a little bit of research. How you do research. You would again list some of those things, and you can use ChatGPT as well to help you maybe narrow down whatever roles that you can use. You can give ChatGPT a little bit about who you are, what you're doing, what you like, what you dislike, and ChatGPT can guide you a little bit of what are the roles that are possible for you. And then the next step is to go to people who are doing those roles, are really delivering those roles today, and get together and try to do an information interview, 10, 15 minutes, understand, what is a good day, what is a bad day, what's the skill set that I need to develop, and is it really still inspiring you or not? Sometimes you make some assumptions about those roles, and then you find out that that's not really the role that I would like to do. So again, matching those things together would help you get into a vision of what that role looks like before again you start writing resumes, before you do LinkedIn, before all those things are very important, but you just need first to define the role, because if the role is not clear, unfortunately everything after doesn't work. So I'll pause here and maybe give my colleagues who are very, thoughtful as well in this area, Coach Mo and then Samar, please give your perception here.
Thank you, Ahmed. A very good question, Michael. And if Ahmed had not started with the questions, I would have probably asked that we start with the transition, because I see a lot of people moving from, at least from one job to the other. So that's also a transition. Ahmed mentioned about, deciding what makes you happy, and we're gonna close what Ahmed started with in what I call the magical triangle, right? So speaking about, I like to speak about triangle because, piggybacking on the military background, when you want to target, like when you see planes chasing one another, they want to target and shoot. There's a triangle that's zeroes down on the aircraft, and then you launch a missile. So similarly, I say we make that triangle of what we're searching for, so that when we fire, we are always efficient with our job hunt. So one angle, or one side of the triangle Ahmed talked about, which is the salary. What does that salary empowers you? And when we say empowers you in the next 2-3 years at least of your life. So most people try to look at salary ranges from past or from constraints of the market. I usually tell them to skip over that. Look at, you're living the future, the salary for the future. Look at the next 2-3 years and establish what really empowers you to jump out of bed to do whatever you want to do. So that's one side. The second side is Ahmed talked about positions. So we close that into 3 positions. So if you would go today and put some keyword into a job board, what are the names of these titles as you write them down searching for opening, whether in LinkedIn or another job boards? So what are the titles? So 3 titles to have alternatives and to have the breadth in the market to find jobs that meet that. So what do you love to do jumping out of bed in the morning? So three title, and that would be the second side of the triangle. The third side of the triangle is also narrow it down further to what industries would you love to contribute to your expertise, right? What industries would you love to contribute your expertise to, right? Why am I focusing on what you love to? What you love to is because when you sit in interviews later on, then you're not faking passion towards something. It's there. People can see it in your eye. People can see it in the nuances of your conversation. Okay. So that's that is what I can add onto what Ahmed was sharing.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Michael, I will highlight one thing you probably also know. Every job in the life we have is a combination of two things, a technical and interpersonal. For the technical part, that is also your responsibility to fulfill the requirement of the technicality. Also, if it's the regulated new job or career, also the technical requirement of this job and certifications. Interpersonal skills, if we look at all the jobs in the whole life, every job have a list of interpersonal skills, but every job have it in different weights. So we are looking at customer service, communication, analytical skills, initiative, networking, organizational environment, collaboration, result orientation, self-knowing. All this interpersonal skills is available in all the job in the life, but every job have different weights for this. Whatever the job that you are moving on is also should contain these interpersonal skills. So it's now your responsibility to create your own cohesive branding in your resume and match it between previous job to the next job. When you write your resume, you have a space for job duties, and mostly people are writing like something around 4 to 5 job duty per job. Definitely in your previous job, you have done maybe 20 tasks, but now it's time to select the most important 4 that aligning well with your next career. The other thing I will also highlight here, I need you to ask yourself, why are you changing career? Is it because you hate your previous career? That's one reason, and then you have to select something. It's not like when you when someone is breaking marriage, he's ready to hook up with any other partner. That's not the good decision now. When you hit your previous career, be very selective for your new career, because you cannot change a lot. Everybody is monitoring your career and your resume, so make sure that you are choosing correctly. If the new career is a passion for you, then also think very wisely, because passion is not always bringing money. If I like, I don't know, I have a hobby of graphic designing, I will think twice. Is graphic designing going to pay me? But is my profession currently paying me or not? That's also a passion. Also, we need to look at it. And then the third one, if you are moving between countries, that's the reason for your career change. If you are moving between countries, then pay a good attention on the common titles in each country. Some countries have common titles, mean some certain jobs. Other countries have same title, mean different jobs. If you are looking at a project manager in some country, it requires engineering degree. In other countries, it might not. If you're looking at, and because I worked a long time in the Gulf area in the Middle East, then like, let's say public relation manager in the Middle East is the person who's doing the government relations and process, while he is in Canada is someone who's doing more into marketing and communication job. So be careful from this, because it's easy to get out of the right way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Samar.
Thank you, Samir. Appreciate your input.
Go ahead, Mike. Do you have any follow-up to what was shared? Is this clear enough for you? Like, does this help you?
No, some great insight across the board, especially, I think what Samir just said at the end, internationally, how it translates in case you're looking at different countries. Though I'm probably going to stay in the United States, though I wouldn't mind, having a job that requires, travel internationally as well. And at least I'm not going through, let's say, a divorce or anything like that, like of a career that's bad. I'm just retiring from the military, so it's all good stuff. So again, no, thank you to you 3 for your input. I'll let
Awesome.
others,
Awesome.
ask questions.
Thank you so much, Mike. Okay. Again, guys, this call is for you, so don't feel shy. This is your chance to unblock yourself. Whatever thing that is challenging you, that is blocking you, you're not getting interviews, you're not getting offer letters, whatever that comes to your mind, please feel free to ask, those questions. Again, otherwise, I have a few questions to start asking. And if you're shy, It's okay. Again, this is a safe environment, so just all questions are good.
Yeah, may I ask a question?
Yes, please go ahead.
So you said the technical part, supposed to be we have to prepare ourselves, right? So I don't know how to prepare for the technical part,
So
coding part, I
depending.
mean.
Okay, so for you, Dosbol, and again, we're working together on this journey. So the technical part is mostly, again, understanding exactly the role and listing the gaps between your current status and the role, and then accordingly starting to do things like, lead code and other challenges, career projects, because again, I know that you're in software and you want to progress in that area. So this is where you definitely need to do some challenges that would make you comfortable in the workplace, through those similar challenges that you will face or solve in the workplace. So again, we'll definitely need to read the job description and see what are the gaps. And if those gaps are in the experience area, we definitely need to practice some of those experience through websites like Lead Code, or again doing some volunteering project, maybe build your own, let's say, website and or app or whatever that you can build to practice those technical experience for yourself. Does that help?
Yeah, that helps. Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
and again, I'll let Coach Mo and Samar. And I don't know, Samar, maybe that's out of your area, but let's see Coach Mo.
Go ahead, Sam. That's fine.
Thank you, Coach Mo. Okay, look, I will do it in the way of the non-expert person because I am not the expert in technical. How do I understand the technicality of some required position? And there's two ways. There's the German way and the Chinese way. Because of me, I will go for the Chinese way. German way is doing a lot of research, a lot of investigation to know what's the requirement of creating a car. The Chinese way, which I will follow, is I will just buy a German car, I will dismantle it, I will understand how it was made, and I will create mine. So to know the technical side and requirement of a job, just search for the job on the internet, look at the job posts, look what they are requiring, and fulfill this requirement. I think this is the easiest way I am following, and it should work.
Thank you, Samar.
Thank you.
Coach Mo.
I'm good. You guys have nailed it. So no input for me on this.
Awesome. I'll let you take the next one then.
No problem.
Awesome. Okay. Any questions from the folks? Okay, so let me ask you a few questions. Who in this group are struggling to get interviews?
Me.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So whoever said me, and I didn't, sorry, I apologize if I didn't get to see who said me, but it seems like there is a good amount of people who are saying me. Okay, those was raising his hand. So
You can use the
what
raise
would,
your hand
yeah,
feature
and
so
maybe
that
raise
we
your hand,
can
use the raise hand so that at least we know the
we can
number. That would be good.
Okay.
And then maybe Coach Mo, why don't you walk us through this question and tell us, your wisdom here, please.
Okay, on not getting responses. So let's split it to two ways. What is in the resume or what is written on the resume? That's one side, and the other side is how do you search for your jobs, right? To validate whether this resume is desirable by the market or not. So let's talk about the first aspect. The easy one is what goes into the resume. So if I am applying for jobs and I am not getting a response, typically that says that there's something about the resume that is deterrent or needs to be adjusted. Now, in today's world, applying online, which most of the job seekers do, by 90% of the time they're applying only or mainly online. And then when you get online, I am in the market myself, so a little background of how this adds to what I'm saying is I've been independent and contractor since 2008. So every year I am in the market looking for projects. In fact, I am winding up my current project and I am in the market again myself looking for my next exciting project. So what I've noticed when I go online is that, let's take LinkedIn. When we go to LinkedIn, LinkedIn is smart where it says that, let's say the job has been posted for 2 days and there's 100 applicants plus, right? When you scroll down, you'll find that they're not 100. It's a smart way to say it so that it doesn't deter people. But when you go into the details and you're about to apply, you'll find that 400, 500, 600 people have already applied, and it gives you some intelligence on how you compare to others. Now, that's a pretty big number for HR departments on the other side of the fence to be tracking. So they're most likely going to use ATS systems, applicant tracking systems, to narrow down what they should look at. And I believe that LinkedIn on the recruiting side is doing something similar. How do I know that? Because even when I get sometimes rejections, the templates are the same. So there's no, when you see the template from one company to the other company, and they say they all saying the same thing, they didn't all agree on one template. It's definitely LinkedIn is doing something on their behalf to help justify why they would be on that platform, and that this platform is getting them the best people. So having that ATS in place, you want to know that you're going to be judged, or the resume is going to be judged on certain criteria, which is mostly skill sets and things like keywords. And that keywords are derived from the job description or what the employer has put as skill sets in a tool like LinkedIn. Now, not all the tools or the job boards have like LinkedIn where you can put the skill sets, right? But LinkedIn does have, and we see it on our side as well when we build our profile, it asks you to add whatever skills relevant to that job. So to give a summary of that, then you need to pay attention to the content of your resume. Does your resume is a representation of or reading what the job description is saying? And I'm going to talk about reading the job description and listening to the job description. Reading the job description is mean you look at a job posted and you read it like you're reading a newspaper. Listening is going deeper beyond what you read into what actually does the employer need, because these keywords that keeps being said over and over in the job description, these are the way you drive keywords to put inside of your resume to be able to get a better match or get selected from that application. So that talks to the content. Now, if you're only using online, for me, that's a recipe for disaster. Why? Because if you use online, you're willingly putting yourself in competition, as I said, with 500 and 600, maybe 1,000 people applying for this job. So you have to get offline, right? Or use online to get offline by connecting with people and having conversations, and try to sell yourself by getting out of the queue and trying to work through backdoors. Unfortunately, that's the reality of today. There's nothing wrong about it. You're not stealing anything. You're just putting yourself available instead of standing off a line of 1,000 applicants. And I'll stop here because my colleagues will have more insights to share on this.
Samar, please go ahead. I know that you bring the HR perspective, so let's get your
I really can't add on Mo. He covered everything. Yeah, wonderful answer. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Okay, so again, Mo definitely did a great job on putting the wisdom, and again just summarizing real quick. There's 2 gates when you apply through online, and that's definitely the longest way. Unfortunately, it could take at least 3 months to get hired if you're applying cold online. And the first gate is the ATS, which is a software. It's a dumb software. You need to definitely understand how it works so that you can pass that gate. The next gate is, convincing the employer or the hiring manager or the HR or the recruiter that you are the right person to go to the next step, which is an interview. So again, that's a tough challenge for most people to communicate through bots and then communicate through humans. You don't know who's going to read your resume, and that's the biggest challenge here. Some folks who are going to read your resume may have some biases, as any human being. We all have biases, we all have discrimination somehow, affected by our culture, affected about, how we were raised, how, where we live, in the world, those kind of things become part of us, so that's where it becomes really a bit challenging for you to avoid those things. So my best recommendation for everybody who is not getting attention through resumes is to check if you're really putting some words that may get you biased or discriminated. Like if your age is big, maybe that you may want to remove anything that could lead to knowing your age, anything that could lead to knowing your background or your, whatever thing that that may confuse or make people biased or discriminated against you. You just focus on the problem you're solving, and that's the main idea of the resume, is to focus on the problem you're solving for that employer, so that that employer would be inspired to speak with you. And that's exactly what you need to focus on. So don't add noise, don't add distraction in your resume, don't put things that are not aligned to the role, because the minute you add multiple things that is not related to the role, they may think that you are not really qualified in the role and you have that strength somewhere else, which can again make them confused. And if they get confusing, then unfortunately they will just pass on. Okay, I'll pause here and see if anyone has any follow-up from the group. Yeah, Samar, go ahead.
Mr. Ahmed, thank you. I think you inspired me. So although like a few minutes back I said I can't say anything, but you definitely inspired me. Look, guys, when we are searching for applying for jobs, the aim is to get an interview. Like when you apply for jobs, you will not get a job. You will get interview. Definitely, if today you applied for one job, you went and sleep, wake up in the morning and find a job offer in your email, you won't believe it. You will say this is another scam email. Yeah. So the aim is when you apply for jobs is to get interview. If your job application or resume is not getting you interviews, that means it's not working. There is something wrong. And to figure out what is wrong in your resume, then you have to study a lot and do a research a lot about a lot of aspects in the resume. If you have some pain in your abdomen, you have two ways. Either you search a lot on the internet and be a doctor, and then you treat yourself, or go to a doctor, go to an expert person who will review your resume and then give you a right advice to fix it. And that will save you a time and effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Samar. Okay. Any follow-up from anyone about what was just mentioned here? Okay. Monisha, yeah, please go ahead.
Hi. Yeah. So it's very strange in my situation. First of all, my resume, I mean, the format, the basic content, it's been the same forever, and I've been getting jobs all the time. It's never been a problem. I modify it slightly for each job. It's not super long, it's not super short. It's, and what I normally do for the jobs is I take the list of skills that they want and I copy and paste, and then I just reword it in my own words slightly. So I'm hoping that, it gets through an ATS. And this has worked, up until last year. Well, I should say up until probably the year before that, because I also tend to get a lot of recruiters sending me emails saying, we have this position or that position and you look like a good fit. A lot of the times I'm not a good fit, but often I am. So I'll respond and I'll send them my resume. And now in both cases, I haven't received a single positive response. I've not received any interview requests since last year. We're talking about 2 years now. I have not received any interview requests. And the recruiters, when they send me, yes, you look like a good fit, so I'll send them back my resume and say, yes, I'm definitely interested. And I'll even give a little sort of summary in the email to say why I think I'm a good fit. And I get nothing back. My resume hasn't changed that much. I mean, other than I'm adding stuff and maybe, summarizing things more because I've got so many things on it. Um, and sometimes I just drop things off because, they're old or whatever. But I don't understand. Like, even recruiters that come to me and I write back and say, yes, I'm interested, I still get nothing.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, Ahmed. Sorry, I need to add one thing. Yeah, same thing happening with me last 2 years. In 2 years, just two interviews. I applied 170 jobs and just
Okay.
two interviews. And I've been doing job for 13 years. So this is the first time happening in 2 years. I've been looking and only two interviews out of 170 applications. Okay, I was applying before, but never happened like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, this is really weird.
Yeah. Okay. Are you guys open for a quick coaching moment, with maybe Coach Mo? I'll ask you to take this and do a quick coaching moment here. Are you guys okay with that?
Of course.
Yeah. Go ahead, Coach Mo.
Um, I want to know who of both of you is brave enough to share the screen and show us what your resume look like. I'm curious. You've made me so curious, especially that 2 years is a long time and a year and a half is a long time. I can speak to the aspect where recruiters are reaching out to you, and when you respond, uh, they don't take it further. Okay, I might have an explanation as a technologist in this, where I think the reach out is an email blast. So they're not reaching out to you specifically; they are reaching to everybody in their database, which could be 500 people. We usually see that's landing in our mailbox, right? If you notice, the emails might not be very personalized except for your name, but then later on, which is systems do it now, they can take your first name from the database, plug it into a message. This is called automated marketing, personalized automated marketing. So you want to see in the content if they're talking about something personal to you, like your specific expertise, to see if that was a personal email or an email blast. And usually, if it's an email blast and it's 500 people, that's an explanation to where you say a lot of the time it does not match me, because it's matching by keyword, not the entire job description. And it happens to me all the time. I have skills that I added in my resume that I know these skills, like for example Java or XML in technology, but I haven't worked on that extensively. I know it, but it's not my main expertise, and I keep getting emails about this. So one of the things around that, if you want to produce results, is when somebody calls you and it or sends you and it match, look if you can find their signature a phone number, and then try to call them back, right? And say, hey, I'm calling you because I got this message from you, and then give the pitch that you're saying about that, the blurb or the one paragraph introduction of yourself that makes a difference for this job, and try to get a conversation. If you guys are noticing more and more, there is actually in the job hunt process, there's hardly any speaking human to human, and that's a problem, right? There's a lot of text flowing back and forth, a lot of things flowing virtually, and you don't know who's behind them, or you don't even know if it's a machine, or you don't know if it's a human being, or they do have time to do that. So be aware of that just in the background, so that you don't get frustrated. A lot of things are happening automatically. I like to call it automatically. So be aware, be aware of that, so that you don't get frustrated. And if you apply for 20 jobs, 100 jobs online specifically, and I tell people, if you don't get a verbal, right, communication that no thank you or your resume is not a match, don't be frustrated. These are all things orchestrated automatically in the background. So you might get rejected without a single person looking at your email, sorry,
Yeah.
at your resume or your profile, right? And the mailboxes of people are being flooded. So I won't blame the recruiter that they reached out to you in an email blast, you responded, and they didn't look on it. I've worked jobs where I got 200 to 300 jobs a day. Sorry, 200 to 300 emails a day. I worked on that particular job. I remember 10 years. I remember till today. every 30 seconds, I was getting an email in my box. So it was virtually impossible to do work and read my emails at the same time. So the recruiter could be in the same place, right, where they get tons of people responding to them, and your email reply just goes lost. Okay. So back to the like on the court coaching. Anyone wants to share? Maybe let's take a look at your resume. One of you guys who is complaining about not getting
Maybe
responses.
maybe Coach Mo, if you're okay, Monisha, can I share your LinkedIn profile? And
Yeah,
then maybe
sure,
that
sure.
could
You
give
can. Yeah, I
Coach
mean,
Mo.
I put it in the chat window, and
Yeah.
I mean, I can share my screen. This isn't the best example, but I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I can
Go
share.
ahead. Yeah, if you want to share your
Yeah,
screen,
share the screen. Yeah.
and if you're
Because
comfortable.
because LinkedIn is available online to everyone, but we customize resumes. So I want to see what the resume looks like.
Okay,
If
so
there's inherently something with the structure or with the way you're displaying information, we can help you do it. And this is the free forum to do that.
let me just see, share. I'll just choose screen. So this, what you're seeing here, is my basic resume. It's not what I send.
Yes, that's the base resume. Yes, I understand.
Yeah, so it's got a lot, right?
Okay.
And then I kind of pick and choose when I send something, but this is the basic structure, right? So
Yeah.
I have a little blurb at the top, and usually when I'm applying for an actual job, you know, I'll put, you know, project manager, right? And you know, in a
You're
whatever,
gonna put a title, yeah,
or
a title to
title
the
and
center.
whatever. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and then yeah, and then I have the profile summary, or sometimes I call it, you know, core skills or core competencies or whatever, and I'll put some list there, and then the work experience based on the job, I'll put, you know, and then here, like you can see, I have kind of lots of points, but in an actual job, I would just choose a few that are relevant to the job.
Okay.
So I try to keep it to, you know, like 1 to 2 pages when I actually apply for a job. So, I mean, here's one general resume that I created for project management only, project director. And I tried a different strategy in this one. I had never done this before, but I'm just like trying different things. So I thought, okay, let me see, because I have so many, you know, like so much experience in project management. I said, let me show, and obviously I called it project director, so I'm looking for something very like a high level, let's say. So I tried to, this was just a trial. I've never done this before, but you know, giving all the sort of like the core competencies that one might look for in a project director, and then showing where, you know, where I've had these experiences. So I just tried this. I actually have another one, which is just a 1-page project management resume.
I think let's
Okay.
let's focus here so that, you know, for the sake of time,
yeah.
Monisha, yeah.
Let's stop on this one and see. So so again, the best you can do, again we're going to talk in the context of online only, and I am not a proponent of online only. We have to, each one of us, go and network, right? Before we send the resume, because when you network, and you sell yourself verbally first, you're securing 50% of the job right there. If people are excited about what you say and they say, well, send me a resume. Now the resume has to build on that listening that you did in that conversation and not take that listening down. Okay. Now when I look at the resume here, make sure that the first page of the resume, you can keep your history as it is, and in the history, as you were mentioning, raise the bullets that make sense to the job that you're applying for to the top, and then if you have anything that is a peripheral or not that relevant, either omit it or keep it at the lower points, bullet points. The structure of bullet points is a winner. Try to use it as much as you can, and even at the beginning of the resume, try to avoid paragraphs, because when you put paragraph at the beginning of the resume, if I see a paragraph of 5-6 lines, right? My eye might skip and I'm not continuing the rest of the resume. So keep it an executive summary style, two bullet points, and every bullet point try to make it concise and do not increase the bullet point more than 2 lines. So even if it wraps to a 3rd line, go back to the 2 lines, try to express yourself concisely and wrap it up to 2. Okay, so when you have this highlight of or the profile, go to the other resume that you shared. There's this one and there's another one that you
this
had.
one.
You see this one where you have the paragraph and then profile summary. Actually, the paragraph is a summary. So you may not want another title. You might take the profile summary on top of that paragraph, and you see how you have the bullet points underneath. Make that paragraph a bullet points as well, and try to make these concise. So instead of having these 10 bullet points, make all of this profile summary maximum of 8 bullet points. Okay. Try to put all your arsenal in that section. Okay, how from your expertise to your certifications to everything. So make a bullet point for everything. 1 bullet point to summarize the paragraph that you had 4 or 5 lines into 2, then talk about your overall number of years of experience, and then your education if you have a post bachelor degree, and with that as well you can add and certified in such and such and such. So those first 3 bullet points give the power, and then after that in the bullet point 3 to maybe 6, try to talk about your hands-on activity. What do I do day to day on my job, so that people can relate to that and relate to the value. Most of us, when we write these things, we go and say things generic. Like, for example, I've managed projects. Okay, you're a project manager. I got that from the title, but what did you do in the details of that? Like statements of work, work breakdown structures, status reports, running steering committees, and all these things, right? So people need to know what the hands-on in that you're. Once you attract them with that half a page, go down in the history and expand on that, because a hiring manager would have the question of where did you do it and how frequently did you do it, and sometimes they need the scope of what you did, because you could run a project that is $500,000 budget and you can run a project that's $50 million budget. You could run a project with 5 team members. You can run a project with 500 team members. I need to know the scope, right? Or get a sense of the scope, because I'll compare that scope to the size of my organization. If you're applying for a company that is a large company dealing with projects in the millions, they want to make sure that you are running projects on that level. So if you have it, write it. If you don't, try to bury it, right? If you don't have it, right? So something like that. I hope that makes a difference.
I mean, so I like some of these, so I'm going to do like kind of 3 major points, and then.
And this coaching is not just on this case, guys. If you're listening on the call, apply that to your resumes as well, so that coaching is not specific to project management or something like that. You'll find it running through other areas as well. If you're in marketing, if you're in IT, if you're in finance, it's a generic positioning.
Yeah. And if I may add a few things, again, Coach Mo definitely gave a lot of wisdom here, and I just, again, few things that I saw in your profile and I see here in the resume that is a red flag for me as an employer. So putting CEO and founder in a resume is a red flag. Is a red flag. So
what if I just put founder?
No. Just put the title. Just put the title that you're looking to get, because again, if I am an employer and I'm hiring you and you have your own business and you're doing your own business, you will be distracted with your business. You will not help me with my problem that I'm solving. So that's a red flag for me. The other red flag for you is age. You've done a lot. And if you send me your resume, I'll go and check your LinkedIn. If I check your LinkedIn, I'll know your age.
Yeah.
And in your LinkedIn, you've done lots of things, some in HR, some in other areas. So I'll immediately think that you are a generalist, and that's not a good thing. So you may want to, again, tailor both to focus on the role that you're really looking for. And this is, again, this mainly answer your question why you're not getting interviews and why you're not getting even connections on LinkedIn through recruiters. I hope that helps. Does it make sense?
I mean, it makes sense. I guess, the only thing that's changed in the last, because I mean, the last two federal contracts that I got, I mean, I wasn't even looking for a job, right? Like they just came to me and said, oh, well, and like the first one was CBSA, and they came to me, oh, looks like you know HR. And I'm thinking, well, sure, I do, but I don't have anything in my LinkedIn profile that really says that I was an HR person, other than the fact that I have done, recruiting for positions. But I mean, I've always been, whatever, project manager or manager of some sort. But
So
then they
let me,
came to me. I said, okay, good. I'll be a HR consultant.
yeah.
You
So
know.
let me answer, your question here in a way. Again, you're asking what changed from 2 years, and what changed is AI. It's technology. So many tasks today that were needing a manual labor to do in 2 years back now are all automated. There is so many things that HR don't need to do manual. Like there is tools to offload that burden. That's why, if you and Samar maybe can jump in here. The HR team reduced a lot through the 2 years back. Like if it was 100 people for an organization of 1,000 person, now it's 10 or maybe 15 or less. Because there is so many tools that replaced the manual work that HR needs to do. That's why there is a lot of work on HR folks today to handle the remaining stuff. And again, Samar, please give your point of view here from an HR perspective. And that's why, again, nobody have the time to read through everything. They have to use software first to pass the first pass and then go through manual reading. Go ahead, Samar.
Thank you very much, and really appreciate your question, Monisha. So look, what we are looking for now, and since you are a project manager, you're expert in your field, you're highly educated, you've done project management, you definitely know how you do the things, and that was working for you in the past. What is a change happening now is really HR is really evolving a lot and changing a lot. And let me tell you, a couple of years back, when they started the chat GPT, I received a resume and I said, wow, I never seen any beautiful resume like this one. Today, I see the resume and I say, wow, he's again using chat GPT. Because I am used now on looking at resumes and I figure out it's done by ChatGPT. And I'm not trying to accuse you, but your resume is also beautifully done by a big part of participation of ChatGPT.
No,
What
it
is
isn't.
happening?
Well,
Yeah,
the project management one was, but this one is purely me. Like literally, not a single thing from ChatGPT.
yeah, I'm withdrawing my word. Don't worry.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing, I could feel from HR perspective, I could feel that. I have seen some indication for that. But don't worry about that. There's all I'm wrong with this. The thing is, if you submit a homework 1 year back through ChatGPT for a university student, he was getting high degree. Today, the professors is able to figure out if this is done by the student or by the automated systems. The system itself is being now trained to recognize each other, and they are screening out whatever is done not in a manual by the and uniqueness by the job seeker themselves. The other thing also we need to look at is the change in the market. Today, if I want to hire a marketing manager for my company, I will choose a younger one because he know how to deal with the new technology, with the social media and application and way of advertising. If I am hiring a previous long experience from the past, he will create an advertisement method for you. For me, that is not working for the current market. That's why we need to change. You are doing things that was working in the past. Now we need to change the approach. We need to approach the market in the new way that is working with the new market now. The last thing I would like to add also is the involvement of the ATS system. ATS system is now working very hard to exclude lots of resumes, and you need to make your resume, the competition is become harder now because you need your resume to be understandable by a system and scoring it high so you can get higher chances for that. The last thing I was talking here. Yeah, when you are presenting yourself 4 or 5 years back, you are presenting yourself in a way that matching with your experience and skills and knowledge and qualification. Today, you are gaining more experience. You have to uplift and elevate your communication skills so you can present yourself in a stronger way that matching your new gained experience and skills. The way a senior person is presenting himself is different than the way a specialized person is presenting. You need to work on this harder. The way you were presenting yourself in was working 4 years back. Today, you need to change your method and try to present yourself. And you definitely have done a lot of proposals for directors. And when you go and present something for a CEO, you will say, no, I'm going for a CEO. I have to change my way. I have to change my timing. I have to change my presentation because this one is working for a CEO. I need to change it. And now you are in a higher level. You need to change your method of applications, definitely. I wish you all the best. It's tough time, definitely. And you will go through it. You're a successful project manager and you will find your way.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Can I just ask, where can we, how can we try an ATS? Like, how can we, see whether our resume actually will go through the ATS?
Sure, I will answer this. Okay, look, today IT and HR, they hate each other. Since ever, they hate each other. Okay, IT is creating ATS system. It is very expensive. HR don't want to pay for it. HR is buying a cheap ATS system, $100, $200, because they want to save the 20,000 that was implemented by IT. It is very bad system. Your resume should be very simple to be understandable by weak systems. And I don't think there's really a website which can tell you, because most of the websites online is commercial. They are trying to tell you, oh, your resume is not matching the job. We have figured out few mistakes. Sign up for us, pay to us. We will fix it for you. So really, most of them is commercial, and every company have different system.
Okay.
Thank you, Samar. If I may, Samar, I know that we're running out of time, but just for the sake of this call, and we need to take the selfie. So Monisha, again, the simple answer to your question: use ChatGPT. ChatGPT can give you a little bit of what are the ATS barriers that you need to adjust versus the job description. That's just a very simple tactic, and again, you don't need to pay other websites like JobScan or other websites to do the scan for you. But again, it's a muscle. You definitely need to build that muscle as you go and understand how the process works so that you can adjust and go through those gates. That's my quick 1 second sent here before we take the selfie. And then again, we'll stay for a bit for anyone who needs more questions to answer. Coach Mo, do you have anything before we go to the selfie?
Well, Ahmed, before we go, because we just had the conversations here skewed towards resumes. So, and I want to honor that you have said we don't sell anything on this call. Nevertheless, I do have a webinar that's coming up, for an online webinar that is coming up for writing resumes, and that people can use as a check to what they're doing in a more focused environment, right? So not to trump what Ahmed said, and this is completely free, as we said. I'm just going to put the link on the chat if anyone is interested to take a closer look at the resume in a more one-on-one environment.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach Mo. Yeah, please benefit from this. This is definitely a great, resource. And Coach Mo has also a Udemy course that, you can search for his name on Udemy, and Udemy, right? Or Coursera.
Want me to put that link too?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you want to put that
no,
link.
yeah, I have an online course, an 1 hour course, the entire, while the workshop is for resumes, this covers the entire as well, um, the entire job cycle end to end. So where you can look, and we talk about resumes, and again, although we talk about the structure of resume, please guys don't discount the power of networking. I've just tried that myself the last few days. I talked to somebody because, as I was telling you, I was hunting for a job. I talked to a friend of mine. I shared with him that I'm looking for something. He hooked me up with a person. The person talked to the hiring manager. The hiring manager called me for a screening and interview. All that happened within 24 hours.
Awesome, cool. So let's take the selfie, and then maybe we'll stay for a bit, 5-10 minutes more. If anyone have any follow-up question, and I'll give you, Monisha, a few more minutes if you want to have any follow-up to what we just mentioned. So if you're ready to be on the camera, just be ready. I'll put the gallery mode so that we become all in camera. And again, we'll use this for marketing and promoting, the call on LinkedIn and other social media. So, I'll give it a few seconds for everybody to be ready. And I'll say 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and smile. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining today. I hope this was useful for you. I hope it was helpful. Stay positive, stay strong. The journey is a little bit hard, but there is always solution. Don't get stuck. Find the solution, or at least understand what's missing, what's holding you back, so that you can find the solution for that. Monisha, go ahead. I know maybe you have some follow-up. Go ahead.
Oh, and well, yes and no. I just, the reason I didn't immediately ask a question in the beginning was because I knew that I might take up more time. So I wanted to give other people a chance, and I feel like I still have not given other people much of a chance. I mean, I know Nadim
No, again,
chimed
it's
in.
okay because everybody who listened to you, they are reflecting on themselves too, because they might be in the same situation like you. So again, I don't want anyone to feel like they because if anyone wants to ask a question, they can raise their hand, and we can facilitate this. But if your questions are important for them, they're definitely listening. They are definitely getting benefit and wisdom too. Hopefully.
And I wanna learn something from this even experience when things happen, like let's say Manisha asked her questions, and let's say we took 20 minutes. If anyone on the call had a burning questions and did not raise their hand, I want you to consider that you have aspects of this during your job hunt as well, and you're missing opportunities, right? So we're still staying here. Again, a second check. If you have not raised your hand and they have a burning questions, we all know in North America this famous quote, you don't ask, you don't get. So ask your questions. Let us try to put some air under your wings throughout your job hunt journey, and let us tell you what we've seen, what we've experienced. You have 3 coaches on the call, each one coming from a different perspective altogether, so we can definitely enrich your experience in the job hunt.
Yeah, and I think Nadim, you also mentioned that you have the same situation. Do you want to maybe ask any follow-up question to what we just shared? Do you feel like now we answered your concern as well, or are you still not clear?
Yeah, it looks like it's most of my questions are answered.
Okay, awesome, great. 2 birds with 1 stone.
Well, so for me, like, I mean, I got a few good points, right? Like, 8 points max in the first part. The first 3 have to be, like really kind of eye catchers. Obviously everybody knows, try to keep your resume to, sort of 1.5, 2 pages. Age is.
Okay, let me correct you here. There is no rule about 1 or 2 pages or 3 pages. That there is no rule. Okay, but less is more. The more you speak, the more you make mistakes. And definitely, what I want you to know here you need to focus on the problem you're solving. Again, the employer is going to hire you only if they feel you are able to solve their problem. So if you're just applying to the role without researching the company, without understanding their business, without knowing their challenges, knowing the competition, knowing how to become the best person for that role, unfortunately you are like thousands of people who are just applying to any role. Okay, so that's a differentiator. Again, as
I
Coach
don't
Mo
know. Like, I
mentioned.
just feel like you should see some of the applications I've done recently. Like, I researched the company. It was, I don't know. Like,
Okay, so let's go, Manisha, with the basics. As I said, we're gonna use half the first page to hook them up into being interested in reading more. So as Ahmed was saying, we don't find any place written where the resume has to be 1 or 2.
no.
It's propagated through conversations, and this works well with recruiters. And I'll tell you that why this is even old news, because this was associated with the time where recruiters were doing personal screening and they were getting many applications. So in order to read and get through 200, they wanted 1 or 2 page. So people started to propagate that. Now with the ATS system, that system doesn't care whether it's 10 pages or an entire book. It's gonna sort through it in milliseconds, and it's gonna qualify it yes or no, or how it ranks. But what I'm trying to say here is hook people to the first half part, because people's attention span is low. So even if you qualify from the ATS and now a person is going to read it, try to hook them up in that first half page, why they would scroll further in the resume, right? I want people to see something in your resume and say, wow, that's interesting. Let me see where she has done this thing that's up there.
Okay.
Where down did she do it and how much she did it? And they will scroll, by the way. And I give people an example of, sometimes you go to, let's say, social media, and social media has been wasting a lot of our time recently, right? We spend a lot of time on social media. So sometimes we decide, listen, today I am going to spend only 15 minutes on social media. I'm not going to allow social media to have me spend 2 hours. And here we are, finding this exciting post that triggers something for us. We click the more and we read more. Then we click the YouTube link or
Yeah.
whatever link. We go to YouTube and spend an hour there. So what happened? We are the ones who put the rules of 2 pages or 30 seconds. But when we found something exciting, we relaxed the rules. The employer will do the same. If
Yeah.
they find something exciting in what you wrote, they will expand that, because they want to hire somebody and they are in dire need most of the time to find the perfect fit or the best fit for this job. So our role is to make it easy for them to read our resume, regardless of how long it is. Make sense?
Yep. Yep.
Thank you, Samar. I saw your post.
Okay, thanks so much.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, if there is no more questions, we'll leave it there. I hope this was useful for you guys. We do this every other week, Sunday, same time, and Wednesday, 7 p.m., also every other week. So next week, there is no calls. The week after, there is call 7 p.m. Wednesday and 11 a.m. Sunday. If you want to, get the invite, follow Future Career on LinkedIn, because this is where we post those invites.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions again before we leave? Anyone? All good? Okay. Enjoy your journey. Again, stay positive, stay proud. I know it's hard sometimes, but whatever you learn, please start to apply immediately, because again, and keep learning, because everything is changing today. Whatever we're sharing with you today, maybe next week when we come, it's a different story. That's what life is about today. Okay, thanks everybody. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks,
Thank
Coach
you.
Mo. Thanks, Monisha. Thanks everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thanks, everyone.